We can now move on to item 4, adoption of the summary records of the 11th session of the committee held in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, from 28 November to 2 December 2016. Mr. Tim Curtis, the floor is yours to present this item to us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Et je passerai aussi sur ce point en français pour vous rappeler que ce document présente le compte-rendu de la 11e session du comité qui s'est tenue à Addis Abeba. Pendant cette session, le comité a discuté et pris une série d'importantes décisions qui concernent votre travail en cours. C'est un document long, même très long, mais qui permet de conserver la mémoire des débats sur lesquels le comité souhaitera peut-être revenir lors de cette session ou à l'avenir. Nous espérons avoir fidèlement synthétisé les interventions de l'ensemble des membres du comité et des observateurs qui sont intervenus lors de la 11e session du comité. Et je vous rappelle aussi que les enregistrements des débats sont disponibles sur la page web de la 11e session du comité. Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. I now open the floor. Does anybody wish to take the floor? I see none. Let us move now to the decision. Please refer to document 4 and its draft decision in para 7. Can we see it on the screens? Very short one. May I ask the committee to adopt draft decision 12.4 as shown on the screens? I see no objections. I therefore declare decision 12.4 adopted. We move on now to item 5B, report by the Secretariat on its activities. Mr. Secretary, the floor is yours to present this item to us.
Sorry, we forgot to do 4bis.
We have a slight technical problem. Just taking up 5B, we will get back to item 4bis. As indicated in our timetable, item 4 includes 2 reports. They are, first, report of the chairperson of the Committee on the Bureau activities, and the second report of the Non-Governmental Organizations Forum. I will now first spend some time discussing the outcomes of Bureau meetings held since the Bureau's election in Addis Ababa last year. Dear colleagues, the committee entrusts significant tasks and responsibilities to its Bureau. In this way, the committee can take advantage of Bureau's flexibility to meet throughout the year and in different settings, face-to-face or through electronic consultations. Such flexibility allows the adoption of important decisions for the implementation of the convention at the national and international level between 2 committee sessions. What are the tasks that are entrusted to the Bureau? Our Bureau is asked, first of all, to coordinate the work, fix the dates, times, and order of business of the committee meetings. In addition, the Bureau is also responsible for examining and approving international assistance requests up to $100,000. The Bureau also exercises any other tasks the committee assigned to it. It has been my pleasure to chair the Bureau, and I'd like to sincerely thank its members for their participation, hard work, and for the spirit of cooperation. Since its election, the Bureau has been very active in examining and deciding on a variety of important issues. We had 2 face-to-face meetings and 2 electronic consultations so far. The 5th and the last meeting I convened is scheduled for tomorrow morning. Let me briefly report on the main decisions that the Bureau has taken in the course of this year. First of all, the Bureau took 2 decisions related to the organization of this committee session. Firstly, it decided to accept the request from the Republic of Korea to change the host city of this session from Seoul to Jeju Island, allowing us to work in the beautiful setting we find ourselves today. Secondly, based on previous year's experience, we decided to extend the duration of the session from 5 to 6 days under the condition that there would be no night sessions. Night sessions disrupt the organization of evening activities planned by delegations, and more importantly, they are not optimal for deliberating and deciding on important issues that affect the implementation of our convention. The Bureau was also asked to study important budgetary questions. The committee, by its decision 10.9, delegated to its Bureau the authority to decide upon the utilization of the funds allocated under other functions of the committee in the plan for the use of the resources of the fund in 2016. The Bureau approved the utilization of this fund from biennium to 2016-2017. The Bureau this year approved the proposal for the utilization in the first 6 months of 2018 presented to us by the Secretariat. However, most of our work this year was dedicated to the examination of international assistance requests. So far, we have examined no less than 11 financial assistance requests. They are made up of 9 international assistance requests up to $100,000, 1 preparatory assistance request, and 1 emergency assistance request. At the Bureau meeting scheduled for tomorrow morning, we will discuss and decide on 4 more requests up to $100,000. In other words, by the end of its mandate, this Bureau would have examined 15 financial assistance requests in 1 year. This high number is a record for the Bureau and testifies the effectiveness of the measures taken at the 6th session of the General Assembly in 2016 to increase the amount of international assistance requests that the Bureau can examine from $25,000 up to $100,000. Of the 11 requests examined so far, the Bureau approved 4 international assistance requests from Colombia, Cuba, Morocco, and Uganda. We also approved the preparatory assistance request from Namibia and the emergency assistance request from Niger. The projects approved differ in scope and approach. As a summary for the 4 international assistance requests up to $100,000, the project in Morocco aims at safeguarding a particular element, the female change of Tarudang in the southwest of the High Atlas Mountains in Morocco. The purpose of the project in Colombia is to safeguarding knowledge associated with the stewardship of sacred sites of the Jeju shamans of Yurupari, settled along the Paraná River of Colombian Amazon. In Cuba, the international assistance granted intends to identify, define, and inventory intangible cultural heritage present in Guantanamo, the easternmost province of the country. And the project in Uganda is geared at raising awareness of the importance of intangible cultural heritage among management and academic staff at 4 universities in Gulu, Kampala, Nkosi, and Fort Portal. Then Namibia's preparatory assistance request concerns the nomination of Aishan, ancestral musical sound knowledge and skills, to the urgent safeguarding list. The emergency request from Niger was prepared in the context of a rise of religious fundamentalism in the region. Mobilizing living heritage as an instrument for unity, integration, and peace, the project incorporates community-based needs identification, capacity building training workshops, an awareness-raising campaign, and activities directed at supporting dialogue among communities. Together with the identification of living heritage practices affected by the crisis in the 2 pilot regions, the provinces of Difa and Tillaberi, this emergency request from Niger gives evidence that states recognize the role of intangible cultural heritage as a source of resilience and dialogue and social cohesion between displaced populations and host communities. The variety of these 6 projects approved testifies to the diversity of intangible cultural heritage and to the multiple forms that safeguarding can take. Dear colleagues, in the course of the year, we are also confronted with the reality that many states still encounter difficulties in preparing international assistance requests that meet criteria laid out in Chapter 1.4 of the operational directives. Regrettably, we decided to refer 3 requests back to the submitting states and not to approve 2 other requests. As you see, this has been indeed a very busy year for the Bureau. I will, of course, report to you again following the meeting of the Bureau scheduled this coming Wednesday to examine 4 more international assistance requests. Dear members of the committee, at the meetings of the ad hoc working group subgroup 2 on governance established by the 38th session of the General Conference of UNESCO, some of you called for more transparency with regard to the Bureau meetings of all conventions. In this regard, I wish to underline that the agenda, documents, and the decisions of each Bureau meeting of the committee of this convention are published online and available to be consulted for anyone who wishes to do so. This is the end of my presentation on the activities of the Bureau. I will briefly open the floor for comments, questions, and clarification with regard to what I have presented. Does anybody wish to take the floor? I see none. Let us now move on to the second report and invite the representatives of the NGO Forum to join us on the podium to tell us briefly on the NGO Forum activities. As you might recall, in Baku in 2013, we decided to systematically include the outcomes of the forum in our meeting. Somebody will, yeah? Yes. Okay, I recognize the madam. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for giving the ICH NGO Forum an opportunity to address the committee at the beginning of this session. Since the last IGC session, the NGO Forum has strengthened its governance, notably by formalising the structure of its steering committee. Its first elections will take place this week for representatives from each of the 6 regional groups to take part in our collective decision-making. From the 1st to the 3rd of December, here in Jeju, the NGO Forum organised and delivered its first international capacity-building workshop for accredited NGOs. The objective is to train over the coming years a series of accredited NGOs in every region that can take forward a role on outreach and regional network building for a larger audience of NGOs and civil society in their respective regions. The exchange of experience and discussions is an important achievement for the 100 or so persons who attended this event. We'd like to express our special thanks to Indonesia, the Korea Cultural Heritage Foundation, and ICHCAP Category 2 Centre for their valuable support. Thus, through a global strategy for increasing involvement of accredited NGOs in the implementation of the UNESCO 2003 Convention at the national and sub-regional levels, strong efforts are being delivered to develop regional NGO networks in the coming years. We will be launching these regional networking groups during 12Com. The NGO Forum, even though experiencing some challenges in its financing, has worked so far on a voluntary basis, engaging in the work of the convention, organising symposiums, capacity building, international cooperation projects, information sharing and newsletters. We also participated in the open-ended working group in China last June on the global framework for assessing the success of the convention.
La grande diversité des ONG accréditées offre à la Convention de l'UNESCO de 2003 de nombreuses opportunités de bénéficier des capacités de nos organisations dans leurs divers domaines d'expertise, contribuant ainsi de multiples façons à la mise en œuvre de la Convention, notamment à travers l'engagement communautaire, l'action culturelle, les méthodologies de sauvegarde, la mesure des résultats, la sensibilisation, la médiation entre les politiques et les praticiens, la coopération internationale et le réseautage. Tel qu'indiqué notamment au point 17 de l'ordre du jour, nous partageons le point de vue selon lequel les ONG accréditées jouent actuellement un rôle formel assez limité au sein de la structure de la Convention. Nous espérons pouvoir collaborer à d'autres fonctions plus actives et plus efficaces pour les organisations non gouvernementales afin de renforcer la sauvegarde du PCI au niveau local, national et international. C'est la raison pour laquelle le Forum des ONG du PCI considère comme importante l'option de réviser les critères d'accréditation. En conséquence, nous accueillerions avec enthousiasme la création d'un groupe de travail informel entre les États parties, le secrétariat et les ONG, y compris le Forum des ONG, pour renforcer la contribution formelle de nos organisations à la mise en œuvre de la Convention. Par ailleurs, durant cette semaine, ici, dans le beau paysage de l'île de Jeju, entre les plongées des femmes Haenyeo ou 2 assiettes de kimchi, le Forum des ONG a prévu un programme d'événements ouvert à tous. Vous êtes donc chaleureusement conviés à nos activités, notamment à la vitrine des ONG installée dans le hall d'entrée, au lancement du livre Heritage Alive ou aux sessions des différents groupes de travail sur la recherche, l'éthique ou le continent africain. Chers délégués, mesdames et messieurs, le monde nous observe. Travaillons tous ensemble pour atteindre l'objectif commun de sauvegarder la richesse des multiples et diverses traditions de notre planète. Nous aimerions enfin remercier chaleureusement le gouvernement de la République de Corée pour l'organisation de cet événement. Que la paix soit avec vous tous. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, representatives of the NGO Forum, for this very interesting presentation. I am very impressed by the progress achieved in the organization of the forum and the work accomplished since its inception. We are aware that most of this work is carried out on a voluntary basis, and I think my colleagues will agree with me that your commitment to this convention is indeed inspiring. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Forum for the continuous efforts and to acknowledge the vital role of non-governmental organizations in the implementation of the convention at the national and international levels and in the safeguarding of intangible cultural heritage. I believe that the committee will discuss more about the role of the NGOs under the convention when we come to item 17.